Hi, and welcome to the Route to CISO Bite-Sized podcast. I'm your host, Chris Rides, and in these bite-sized episodes, we'll be speaking to experienced cybersecurity hiring managers. We'll be asking their advice on how you can stand out from the crowd to make the career moves you desire. Hey everybody, and welcome to the Route to CISO podcast. A little bit of a different one. This is not really going to be a bite-sized episode, and I'm not interviewing a CISO about their career. I'm talking to my good mate who's already been on here on a bite-sized episode that we did in Washington. John Yo, good friend of mine, Chief Scientific Officer at the Cloud Security Alliance. What does that mean?
Hey, it's a pretty fun job. Not gonna lie, Chris. I'm head of our R&D over at CSA, so all the content that you see coming out of there, me and our CTO, we lead that effort. Additionally, we have engagements that we're doing with governments, U.S. government, international governments. We engage other consortiums, other enterprises to really understand what the major problems are, and then we bring these in to the R&D unit to try to make sure that we're hitting on what really matters for security professionals and CISOs. So it's kind of fun because we're in the mix of things. We're seeing how everybody's building something. We're building things ourselves, and then we get to talk about it. So that's one nice thing about it. We don't have a lot of shackles on what we do. We like to share. We like to be a part of the communities, and that's what makes, I think, this job pretty fun.
Love it. Yeah, I know you've been there a long time. We've been friends a long time. I've obviously got a huge soft spot for the CSA, having been involved and volunteered for them. And back when we started the SoCal chapter, and I was one of the founding directors of that. And then stuff going on here in Vegas, maybe with the latest Vegas chapter to be launched. Watch this space. So. Yeah, I appreciate first off you jumping on and having this time. I know we spoke Sunday anyway, so I know we had a good chat then. But I appreciate you doing this for the podcast and having a talk, especially as I know you're not feeling 100% as well, mate. So doubly, trebly appreciate it.
It goes with the job, right? Security never sleeps, so neither can you. And the body doesn't like that very much.
And here was my thought that AI was going to enable us to work 2.5-day weeks. I thought that was what the plan was. No, really productive.
I thought I was going to have my digital self do this interview, but somehow you coerced me into actually talking to you, face to face. So,
am I sure it's you, or is this your? It could be. Maybe this is your digital self.
Yeah, as long as you don't move to the side, you'll never know. But
well, mate, look, thank you so much. And this week has obviously been crazy for you. We spoke Sunday. Just as a bit of context, Mythos and Project Glasswing was, I think, talked about, or I don't know, announced, I guess, 7th of April. And by a week later, the 14th, there was a white paper out. I obviously talked a lot about CSA, which is, SANS were involved. The OWASP was involved as well. And unprompted, of course, the conference that I missed because I was having some family stuff. Gutted about that. Not gutted because I did have a good time with the family, but I will be at the next one. So it sounds like it went very well. So
good answer.
Yeah. Yep. Yes. Yeah, exactly. So just for the basics, for those that haven't seen the white paper, but also maybe don't even know about Mythos and Glasswing, can you explain what that is, first of all, just to start?
If you missed it, Mythos is the next generation of large language models that is being put out by Anthropic. And so if we think about it, yes, we're talking about Mythos because it's in the news, and the Glasswing project was big because what that was it enabled critical software players to actually get access to that LLM to use it to find exploits in their software packages and their infrastructure. And so that was the big Glasswing project. And I think it was applauded right before this model becomes available to the public. Let's make sure major software companies can use that to fix and patch and find exploits.
Yeah.
So when that was released, Chris, and I know you read about it too.
Mhm.
It uncovered some pretty, I guess you could say, the word people use. I don't know why this always comes up. It's scary and spooky, and yeah, I guess AI can be scary and spooky, but it is one of those major technology shifts. And Chris, you and I have been in this industry for a while, and we can. I think we can count on our hand, at least two hands, where we saw like major shifts in technologies, and uh, this, from an LLM perspective, is one of those. Like I put it up with like almost the launch of ChatGPT. Oh my gosh, this is where LLMs become much more serious. And I want us to think even past like the exploits and things like that too, because I've talked to a lot of people and they're like, hey, we have a lot of skilled hackers, a lot of skilled red teaming and pen testers that can do all these things. But I think the difference for me is uh, putting this in the hands of just anybody, like
Mhm.
like like email, yeah, like I think you and I mean, we're not that we're not skilled, but uh, are either us on some of the top hacking groups in on the planet. At least not that I know of, Chris. But this does put these capabilities in the hand of the average person, and
Mhm.
I know you need a lot more, malware packages to unload after that. But the idea is, what are you looking for? You're looking for exploits, and so this puts that capability in the hands of anybody, or at least it will. And so, getting ahead of it was the goal of the Glasswing project, and what we wanted to do with the paper that you're referencing. We wanted to get the community together to address uh, like how important this is. Like, what should we be doing about it from a security perspective? Uh, what are the considerations? What does it really mean? That was the goal, and so I tell you, it was an incredible effort. What did we hit the right topic? Sure, but it also took the right people to lead this, and I can't mention uh, the project that we undertook with the paper without mentioning Gadi Evran, who is
Mhm.
our ringleader. Uh, One of the coolest people I've ever met. That's how we got to know each other and like each other.
Yeah.
Just turns out he's super smart and hyper connected. And so you put those three things together, and he was the one that's like, "Hey, we need to hit on this. Everybody's talking about it. Let's get the CSA community, the OWASP community, the SANS community, the unprompted community together, and find out what we need to tell the security world about what Mythos means." And so that's what we did. Gotti said, "Hey, let's do this." This was Friday,
Yeah, I was gonna say
and
you got people in over the weekend, and that list of names is like insane when you read through it. We've had a few of them as guests on here, and I'm lucky to know quite a few of them. Also, know how hard it is to cut some time out to get them on the podcast. It takes weeks for me to arrange that, and there is like Gaddy and you guys getting everybody together over a weekend that quickly within a week with a draft out, which is just
yeah.
insane.
Can you think about that? Yeah. So like Gotti, Evron, I got to say Rich Mogul and
Yeah.
and Rob Lee. These three really, got everybody going, pulled everybody together, got content, got perspectives, got input, got feedback. Not just those three, but look at the name of authors and peer reviewers on there. I mean, we're looking at 250 plus like security leaders, CISOs that wanted to over the weekends take time out of walking their dogs, playing with their kids, doing their hobbies. It was so important to them that they had to get in on that document and contribute. And it was super moving to see the community move like that
Yeah.
for a cause. It also tells you how important that cause was. And so, yeah, this is serious. I think just having an understanding of not just Mythos, but these, what's coming. Like, are
Hmm.
we really ready to fight machines? Uh, yeah, I hope we are, and I hope we're at least thinking about how we're going to prepare for that.
I think it's another example of kind of the AI bringing the community together again because it felt like that. We talked to RSA. We spent a lot of time with each other at RSA with a lot of other people, and and it felt like there was even more of a community spirit than there's ever been before. And I think
Hmm.
from a lot of the stuff that I took from the white paper, it is really about the people, right? It's always going to be about the people. Now it's about the software, it's about what it can do, but it's about the specialists, the experts, and it talks about burnout and attrition and all of these other impacts that actually as an industry we've had for a while. And I joked at the beginning about AI, supposedly enabling us to slow down and have more time on the good stuff. But if anything, it seems like, at least in our industry, it's going to create more work for us. So
Yeah,
it's kind of an interesting dynamic, interesting situation right now, and exciting at the same time.
yeah,
Scary, as you said, but
yeah.
exciting as well. The key, and just for clarification, right? So my understanding was, obviously you got this, the Anthropic talked about Mythos. It's not like Mythos is and Project Glasswing. This isn't going to be released out to the public, or at least it doesn't seem like it's going to be. Is this more of a warning of, if we can do this, then what's happening abroad, what's happening in other places where maybe there's not the same ethics or the same guardrails? We need to be ready. Is that the sort of overall overarching story of this?
I don't think so at all. I think the story is this is coming, right? Like
Right.
Mythos is going to be available, and it's we know the current model is Opus, right? And we're at Opus
Uh-huh.
4.6, and Mythos. I think it used to be called like Caliberry or something like that too, and now it's. I think Mythos is going to be the name of this next age of large language models, and
Right.
so yeah, I know people. I mean, people are already using it, right? And I know people that have used it for attacks. And if you know me too, Chris, I've really been into like, hey, how can you know AI go green? And certainly token costs come there too, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I've
Of
just
course.
spent so many. My subscriptions, my token costs have just gone way above what a person should be doing, and so I'm trying to like figure out how can I better reduce token costs. But then it goes down to just being green across the board, right? And
Yeah.
uh, uh, boy, I don't know if we want to go into that right now. We should stay. I was about to take us down a different pipe of just like quantization and compressing like large language models and my prompts and
Yeah.
moving everything to Markdown. But uh, like staying just within like we know this model is coming. It's going to be there. It's certainly going to be expensive, and I think
Hmm.
we've seen other articles come out that talks about the costs of using Mythos as a defender too. And so are companies ready for that? So that's a cost that we're going to have to be able to measure and implement, right? We're not just talking about people now. We're talking about security teams who should be some of your biggest users for AI. So I hope your security teams are your highest token users, because it's going to take that. It takes more token usage to defend against an attacker using Mythos. And so uh, nothing new there, right? It costs
No.
more to protect than it does to attack. And so that will continue to happen.
Yeah, it does make me wonder about how much, like, eventually, like, this will become like the haves and have-nots, right? Who can afford to utilize this? And I know some of the critical infrastructure. I think it was released out, so some of the critical infrastructure could use it, and I do worry about that. There's a surprisingly, especially in the US, surprisingly large amount of critical infrastructure that is small family businesses that don't even maybe have a security person, let alone the ability to necessarily afford some of this. So I don't know. I think that's probably a little bit outside the scope of this, but
I would
I
even
just
challenge that, Chris.
interesting
I
point.
almost think that as we talked about how Mythos puts this in the hands of attackers, like of just people who aren't that skilled, same with these small businesses, right? I mean, think about having to hire a huge team of security practitioners to do something, or now you just run up your frontier model token usage to do the same thing. And that's kind of one of the points in our paper that in our response was like, hey, make sure your teams are using LLMs. Let's make sure we are AI forward when it
Hmm.
comes to protecting. And that starts before even Mythos comes out, right? If your teams aren't already using AI, uh, they should be now, right? It should have been yesterday, but hey, just have them start now. I think there's a great move. Like it's in the paper. We almost try to get something to go viral. Well, it's like, hey, well, I know Mythos is a thing that they're doing with the people who have access to it, and they're using it on critical software to find those bugs. Why don't we do the same? Why don't we get every single person to just, it's not a special skill, right? We can use Claude, we can use other models out there to just, hey, point at something at home in your company and hey, scan it.
See
Find
what it
some, yeah,
finds.
exploit it, find some vulnerabilities. We can all do that, and that would be a pretty fun movement too to make just the entire community, find our own bugs together before even Mythos comes out, right? And so
Yeah.
now we have a patch path, and we're already fixing things before this this new brain comes and makes it even easier for attackers.
Yeah, you're kind of preparing for it already. It's yeah, it's like just a crazy time to try and get your head around all of this stuff that's going on. It's I find it a little bit overwhelming when it's coming at you, left, right, and center. Every change and having, like you talked a little bit, like getting yourself built up using one AI model and then realizing you need to change to another one and start again with all of the stuff that you've kind of built so far. Um, and the token cost, the cost of doing this seems to be, like as you say, rapidly going up. So the more you play with it, the more money you're going to spend. It's we'll see how people, what people can do, and how far they can get with it.
Yeah,
um yeah, I just find it the most, that's the scariest thing for me, is just that things are changing so quickly. I don't know when I find the time to keep up with it all.
yeah,
And as a security person, you're doing an awful lot of other stuff as well as trying to keep up with this. It's although it's a passion thing, right? So like when my daughter goes to bed, that's when I'm playing around with AI. That's when I find a bit of time to do that, but it's not the amount of time I'd want to. I want to spend more time on it.
yeah. It's hard to do. I agree. Like you have your operations, right? No matter what you're doing, if you're a security practitioner or you're just operating a business on your own or whatever. Yeah, have you set aside time to get familiar with these tools and to learn about these tools? I think you have to, right? It's a matter of like investing that time in your future and in your company's future, and a company probably needs to also set aside that time to to do that themselves. I think we've seen historically major companies do that, right?
Yeah.
Like I think I've seen Microsoft. I heard Microsoft would shut down uh, some of their practice just to focus on building or to focus on patching, and I think it's that time in the industry in the world that we probably need to think about doing that, right? Like I know some people have done this, right? During the pandemic, we did plenty of that too. It's like, hey, if you need a mental health day, this is it. Uh, let's start setting aside AI learning days.
Right.
I love that idea, right? Because uh, it's kind of, especially if you're not doing it every day, it's kind of a shift in like brain energy, right? Like you're doing something a little bit different, but you're bringing that skill not just to your business, but to whatever you're going to do for the rest of your life. Because
Yeah.
there's no question that playing around with agents, using some sort of, frontier model platform, you're going to be doing that at some point, for the rest of your life. So, yeah, let's start doing that now.
Yeah, I love that. If I think about it, and it is something that I haven't noticed as much recently, but when I first started Tyro 2012, it was not common, but it wasn't unusual for us to have companies that turn around and said, we allow 4 hours a week or a day a week for them to work on research projects. So they were given time out of their day where they specifically could work on research projects which weren't their day-to-day job. And that's something that I don't see as many companies talking about now. If they are still doing it, they should be talking about that, because that's like, if you want to hire and attract some of the best staff and retain the best staff, then you need to be doing stuff like that. You need to be able to keep people, allow them to be able to keep on top of the latest things in the industry.
Yeah, I think we need to enable that too. And there's enough crazy things going on in the world where, I mean, you kind of think people would do that on their own time, but I mean, life is, dude, come on, life is busy. We have a lot going on. People have families, pets, hobbies, and all sorts of things, right? And so,
Yeah.
if we can somehow carve that time out during the work week so that people can focus on this, it's going to benefit everybody.
Yeah,
And let's
and
do
I
it.
think they are. I think good, like passion is always right up there. Like, how are you keeping on top of your, like, how do you keep on top of the latest things? And genuinely, the best people are the ones that do spend a bit, every little bit of time. They're not doom scrolling. They're not watching, Housewives or whatever it is on TV. The junk TV. They're spending it learning about something or doing something. And so I think they are. I just feel like the pace things are moving at right now, I don't think you can spend enough time without sacrificing from some of the stuff, which I, being a dad myself, I you shouldn't be sacrificing, especially when, we in this we talk about burnout and attrition. And I think if you're not spending the time on the other stuff outside of work, or you sacrifice that for it, that's going to just increase the burnout, right?
You know, I agree. That's a real thing, and I want to make a suggestion too. Like maybe like Chris or anybody else who's listening. So, if you're in position, I'm really fortunate to be in a position to one. It's my job to play around with things, but you talk about cutting into personal time. So, my partner, she, uh, we watch like TV shows together, and we love doing that, right? We have a lot of good series and shows that
Yeah.
are out there, but we've also replaced that with playing around with agents. And so, uh, we each like she has her own Mac Mini, and she built her own agent in OpenClaw. She is building her own skills, her own personas, her own just plugins. She's doing everything herself, and so she recognized that for her job, like, hey, I need to be hands on with this too. And she plays with that stuff for work too, right? She has to actually use that for work, but we've made it kind of a hobby for us too. And so, it's almost like video gaming with your kids or your partners or your friends. I mean, that's what it's been to me. It's almost been addicting like that too, in a bad way, Chris, where sometimes you're building something and then it's like 2, 3 in the morning. You're like, oh, this is, how old am I? And that's why, like, yeah, you see me. If people saw me the last couple of days, they're probably recognizing the same shirt and jacket. And yeah, but it's been kind of like that for me, and I think it's really, that's something that maybe we can all do. Like, right, let's make it a hobby, and you don't need to have a Mac Mini to do it too. You can have any laptop, fire up a VPS. There is these subscription costs to it, but it's like I said, it's a good investment. I mean, everybody has their game subscriptions, right? This would be something that replaces that, or it can replace a streaming service, right? So, hey, you
Hmm.
know what? Let me sacrifice, one of my many streaming services because I know we all have a bunch of them these days.
Yeah,
So,
mostly that we're not watching, right? We just get the bills through.
yeah, and they're so duplicative anyways, right? Sometimes you watch a show, you can watch it on like, oh man, I don't need this specific streaming service for it necessarily. And so yeah, yeah, there's ways to do it. I think you don't just have to go invest. And believe me, I have friends that invest in like $16,000 rigs and machines to play with LLMs, and I want to do that too, but I haven't even come close to that. I haven't even come close to
Yes.
that. That's so much. But hey, what are they doing? They're investing in themselves, and they're able to do things that I can't do because I can't host these gigantic models that they get to play with. And so, yeah, I think there's a way to make a hobby of it with the people that you love and make quality time playing with agents, right? Why not? It's like a video
Yeah.
game. I'm telling you, it's like a video game.
100%. And I think, well, I know at least one person you're talking about there, because we've seen pictures of their new rigs. So,
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And yeah,
Yeah,
Pretty
great
awesome,
work.
man.
I should also say the same person. This cap arrived from this person today, so I
Hey,
did send him a thank you.
that
I'll
is a
say thank you now.
fantastic
You know
hat.
who you are, and John knows who it is as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I
Those
think
aren't free either, Chris. So I'm
no,
guessing you had
I
to
don't
earn
know.
that somehow.
I feel like, yeah, maybe. I have my own thoughts
Yeah.
on how these work. Yeah,
Yeah.
mate. So like this is like the great thing with AI, right? Is it's going to make people more productive. I think you met Rob before, my business partner, originally when we started Tyro Security. His background's technical, so he's done really interesting stuff. You know, from the UK, he was in the middle of GCHQ. He's been plugged into nuclear submarines, like
Very cool.
hacking those, pen testing those, and he started a couple of security companies and sold them, and he's very technical. He's been pen testing for as long as I've been in the recruitment world, and I was having a chat to him, and he's been playing with AI for a while. And at this point, he joked, and I know it's half a joke. He was like, "I am 70% AI at this point," and I can honestly believe it. He's got so much stuff that he's utilizing it on, and he
Wow.
spends so much time on it. And he says he's doing so much. He's getting so much more work done as well.
Wow. Um, it's such an interesting question too. I've talked to pen testers who've been playing with AI forever, and I know they have some incredible skills, and those are baked into the agents that they're building, right? So it's special to what they are doing, and uh, I'm just so curious. I would love to see them playing with like some of the newer models, like not like definitely when Mythos comes out, but
Yeah.
just the different kind of like branch chain uh, behavior and learning that these models are doing on their own, right? I mean, the models aren't just like single focused anymore. They're finding combinations of ways to get into things, and those exploits are what made were unique to like really highly skilled humans at one point. And so now we're seeing machines do that and doing it at machine speed. So I know in the right hands, those are so powerful. But I'd be curious if they feel like that, like how like where's that gap now? Before it was like, hey, here's the human, here's the machine, and are we getting how much closer are we, or is it just like, hey, man, you know what? This guy with the machine, this really skilled person with the machine, it doesn't matter anymore, right? So,
Yeah,
uh,
I hope and it's like funny when you do your sort of hands like that, like I know it wasn't consciously, but I do think like there is a worry that like we talk about, you got the experts here, right, and you've got AI here and the machine here, and but really this we should be seeing this right, and maybe this going up a little bit with it as we learn how to do it. But there isn't my worry. You did this at one point, and actually that's a real worry. I worry about how many people will become overly reliant on AI and actually dumb ourselves down, like almost like taking for granted that AI knows more. A bit like we've seen with the let's face it, we've seen that with Google in the web, right? People quote things like they absolutely know the answer and they've Googled something and it's bought it from some fake news site, right? So it does worry me whether we're going to have issues with it with people being dumbed down even.
yeah, well, I know. No, I'm kidding.
Hang
uh, yeah, I do.
on, let me just check what my AI would answer for that.
Yeah, I wish we could predict the future, but like some things do seem inevitable, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
I wonder about that too. Like Jim Rivas, the CEO over at CSA, he made a comment. There's a point where like let's not talk about security. Let's just talk about building something, right? There's going to be a point where AI just starts like replacing entire code bases just to make things improve faster, right? We're talking about like production, like CI/CD, and just like, hey,
Hmm.
we're just everything's in production now and moving fast. And what do you do about that, right? Can as fast as you're building, uh, I guess as always, security needs to keep up, and you're also scanning is fast, and then patching is fast, and fixing is fast, and what does that look like? And it just seems like it's going to be at such rapid speed. It took a long time. I mean, we security had to always move faster and faster and faster, and is this next step, is that going to be the 120 mile per hour fastball that now we just can't catch up with, or
Hmm.
or are we going to find a way, hopefully, to build a bat that can help us keep up with that 120-mile-per-hour fastball. Yeah, I think that's what we're waiting to see, and I think that's why it was so important to address it in this paper.
Yeah.
One, it's like let's really get all the community together to address the issue, and then let's make sure everybody sees like, hey, this is what we really are expecting, and there's a community effort around that too, right? It's not just about, yes, arm your teams, make sure your teams are very highly skilled with LLMs, make sure we're even attacking things now so we can so we're not waiting for Mythos to come and just be overloaded with patchwork. But yeah, let's make sure that we're doing all the right stuff like right
Um,
now. So let's make sure we're engaging with the right communities right now too, right? Make
yeah.
sure you're hopefully you saw four really key consortiums come together to do this. Uh, I say stay engaged. Hopefully, this encourages you to be a part of, yeah, CSA, Unprompted, CSAI,
Yeah.
OWASP, SANS. I mean, these are organizations that really care about what we're doing here, and there's plenty more too, right? I've been a part of many other communities out there, but yeah,
Yeah.
we can't do
100%.
this on our own.
No, and the chapters, there's lots of local chapters, right? So OWASP has local chapters, and obviously CSA has a lot of local chapters. And like, if I can tell you anything, if there isn't one local to you, start it. You'll be surprised, even in a small city, large town, how many people have got a vested interest in this stuff. Once you start something, was it once you build it, they will come. Is it Field of Dreams that comes from something like that? But yeah,
Of course, you better know that. You better know that's Field of Dreams. Come on.
I'm casually AI is telling me the quotes I should use just up here, so I'm trying to sound as clever as possible. One thing, I guess, there's a couple of other things I just wanted to chat about. One was we're talking about AI making people more productive. The number of experts we have in the field, I feel like it isn't growing, like in security as a whole, right? So we've got these people with years and years of experience. I feel like the way people work will change. I don't think so many of us will be retiring in the traditional sense. There'll be more semi-retirement, people still doing gigs, part-time gigs. I can't think this year how many CISOs I've seen come out of retirement to pick up gigs or part-time gigs, right? Acting CISO gigs to help people through. So I think that we will manage to keep the expertise around for a bit longer. But at the end of the day, I think I posted death and taxes are certain, right? You've got attrition is going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
My concern is like, where do the next group of experts come from? Because I know we have that middle group, but the big skills gap people talked about, people were thinking they were talking about a skills gap where we don't have enough people in security. It's not really that. We just don't have enough people at the right level in security.
I think those people too, Chris. I think they're being built today, right? And I mean, like existing practitioners as well as people that aren't in our industry. Because I think what we've been trying to push to is we don't want you to just use AI to assist how you're doing your job today. We want AI to help you just transform how you're doing your job today. So I think that's where we're going to see a lot of differences coming up here. Is we want to see how AI is going to help us change our approach to security, our approach to operations, how we're doing things. We're doing that pretty heavily at CSA. You kind of seen how we operate the last 15 plus years, and it's been fantastic to build what we have. But we know that model has to change. Give you one example, right? We build white papers. We create really cool PDFs that everybody can read and learn from. Pretty soon, I think our number one audience is going to be agents, right? Because people are going to be using agents to get that information and present it in a form that they want to ingest it in.
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to create papers for machines, right? And so we want to move everything to Markdown because we know that's how agents consume information. So we want to make it easier for them. That helps with token count too, token costs. But yeah, that I think we need to just change how people are getting information. We need to change how people are doing their jobs completely. And so yeah, let's step one might be just like, hey, that's cool. I can use AI to help me do this. But how can we make AI just completely transform how you're doing something to make you even more productive? you're trying to reach more people, create more product, create different products. I think that's really what I want to get to with the people at CSA, and I think that should be encouraged across everybody, right?
Yeah, I wonder whether we'll see more people maybe even like transferring across from maybe other areas of the business or other industries where they understand certain parts of the business, and that enables them to then understand maybe some of the security issues, I suppose. So
Yeah,
it'd be interesting. I think the entry level roles will be tough because AI will be able to do a lot of that sort of initial work that enabled a lot of people that listen to this podcast, experienced people, to learn the basics first. But I'm sure we'll find other ways to get them there.
yeah,
Um, and I'm super excited. I know a lot of people that are concerned about AI and taking jobs, and it absolutely will do. But I feel like people almost have to allow it to do that, right? If you're
yeah,
not keeping on top of it, you're not utilizing it, you're not being the productive person that's making it useful for you, then you're also the type of person that may well let it go past you, unfortunately.
yeah.
So,
And I
like,
was going to say on one thing,
yeah,
it changes that entry level job, right? Too. So entry level jobs, that entry level job goes away, but now it starts here, and it starts,
right,
because you're able to do that. You're able to also meet that because you are an expert with agents, right? You know how to use AI to do that, and so yeah, I think again that's where things change, but entry level just shifts, and it's up here now.
yeah, and maybe that entry level position is much more interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, or
yeah.
here or
It
here
might
or
be up
wherever.
here or down here. I mean, it's going to look differently.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So obviously, first, like I was going to end it just with a couple of bits of advice to CISOs. The white paper was about building a Mythos ready
mm,
security program. The obvious piece of advice that I would give them was go and get the white paper. It's free. It's on the CSA website, and if you haven't read it, read it. But what are if you took out two or three points that
that's
you
it.
think, yeah,
That's
is
it.
that
Yeah,
that's
but
it, you're done. But if you look at that and you were talking to a CISO, yeah, on this podcast, our audience kind of ranges, right? We have people entering the industry, experienced security practitioners, those that are just getting into leadership, and we've got some people that are already CISOs, that are looking at what other CISOs are doing, what are the attributes, what can I work on from this. If you had that mix of audience, what would be the piece of advice that you think they should at least start with, or a couple of important pieces from it?
yeah. And the great thing is I'm not. Yeah, I'm taking it directly from the paper actually too, and
Yeah,
uh, you know, start now, right? I think today's large language models are super powerful, and start pointing them at anything that you have in your organization. Start looking for vulnerabilities. Start scanning now, so you're kind of getting ready for when Mythos and these other new models come out. With that, you probably need to look at changing how you're addressing risk, like your risk tolerance, and uh, I mean, operationally, what does business look like if we have to make sure that things are safe and secure before we continue to do something? So operational risk, business risk, just kind of that has to be a little bit of a moving thing. The third part is making sure, I guess, empower your teams with agents. Make sure they're very AI forward. I think that's super important, and get ready for this huge flood of vulnerabilities that we're going to see. And so, if you can prepare for teams dealing with that, that's where that human element comes into play too. Like, there's going to be potentially a lot of burnout, just overwhelming. So we need to kind of end up dealing with that, and being part of communities, I think, helps with that too,
yeah,
right? We can see how other people are doing things. Are other people feeling the same thing that we're feeling? What does our risks, what does our security program look like with people that are like us? I think that helps, right? And I think that helps with the board as well too. Are we living up to where other organizations are? Are we exceeding that? And can we show that? Can we demonstrate that? I think it's pretty important to do. So, uh, being Mythos ready or just next generation LLM ready, next step ready, I think those are some pretty important steps.
yeah,
Yeah, I hope I got that right.
yeah. I think so. I mean, I think it's
Yeah.
like, yeah. I mean, it sounds right to me. It's one of those where it's a shame because I think like all of this stuff's going to cost money. All of this stuff's going to need the budget, and it's going to need the businesses behind them. And when I look at it, I know how many CISOs are crying out for headcount or crying out for, for the ability to buy certain pieces of software and have more money to spend. And sadly, it always seems in the past that they often don't get that until there's been an incident. Um,
Mm.
and hopefully, this white paper helps like move things along. The talk in the public. I don't know if there's anything else you think that can help get them there, but I feel like
Mm.
that's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, I think I did see something where like people are demonstrating the cost of using Mythos to protect something, and the cost versus the cost to attack that same thing, and maybe that gives CISOs a chance to really show like, hey, right, here's some direct cost, like proof of cost of how much something cost to like what I need to protect something. Uh, yeah, there's always going to be a fight for budget. Like, budgets are
Mhm.
very finite. I do think though that security teams, security leaders need to be the leaders when it comes to using AI. Right? I mean, we're in perfect position to do that. Right? It's not complicated. We know uh, yeah, Mythos is a perfect example of how easily LMs are used to exploit. So LMs that can be used to also patch and fix and remediate and work in these new automations take place. I think security is built for that. So let's let's share that budget. Let's take a big chunk of that AI token budget and show people that security are the innovators of the company now.
Yeah. Yeah, love that. It is crazy. I just feel how times moved in the last few weeks has just been insane. I look, when we were at RSA, I was at a startup pitch. So I was with a bunch of CISOs, and there were startups pitching, and one of the CISOs actually said in that pitch, we're using LMMs, we're using LLMs, and we're only finding a handful of vulnerabilities, and most of them are really low level, right? We're not getting them, and now those same people are seeing what Mythos can do, and
Yeah.
it's all changed. Oh, my joke was if I was at RSA, when I was thinking at RSA, if somebody had mentioned Mythos to me at that point, I was still thinking the Greek beer, right? That was where my head was going, like not where we are now, So like things are changing rapidly. So yeah, exciting times. As much as it's scary, everybody else is in the same boat as you that's out there listening to it. Stay in touch with your community, right? There are ISACs, there are information sharing groups you can join. Infraguard, as well as your local chapters. Like find your team, right? Find
Yeah.
find the people you can talk to.
And I think that's big too, Chris. And if you are stunted, maybe you do need help to bring in somebody that can help your team build things. Because sometimes I think it's almost like even if you set up agents or you have a really the $200 Claude or Codex account. Now what? Now what do I do? Do I know how to actually create those workflows? And it's so I think it's different than it was 6 months ago, and so it's really nice to maybe have some some hand holding. There's tons of information out there too. To you can even ask you can probably ask the chat how to most effectively do something too. But at the same time, having somebody who's built something before that might be, I think that's not a bad way to find contractors that can come in there, help your team build things, help your company build the things, and have your teams see how it's done, so they can kind of also replicate that process.
Yeah, I don't think we're far down the line from seeing marketplaces where people are sharing and selling or hiring out their agents and everything else. It's
I, I see a lot of that, people selling skills and plugins, and these are things that you can make yourself, but people don't know how to get started. And so
yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of opportunity out there if you set up some time with your loved ones, play around with these things, make it a video game moment.
Yeah, there's so many ways of doing it, mate. I won't keep you any longer. Thank you so much for chatting to me about this, mate. It's always a pleasure to chat to you, which is
Yeah,
why I'm
it's
always
nice meeting
bugging you
you.
on the phone. Yeah, lovely to meet you for the first time. Mate, thank you so much, and I'm sure we'll catch up soon. And thank you for the
Absolutely.
audience. If you've got any questions, I'm sure me or John will be happy to answer them. Send them along to me. If you've got something else you want me to go and grab somebody in the industry to talk to them about something, let me know. I'm always happy to do that. But thank you for
Yeah,
listening.
I sure hope this was edited down. My goodness.
We don't do much editing. Sorry about that. I should use
Ah,
AI for
all right.
that. Take care.
Thanks,
Thanks
Chris.
all.
All right. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Route to CISO Bite Size podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you keep an eye out for season 3 of the full Route to CISO podcast. And in the meantime, stay up to date by liking, commenting, and of course, subscribing to our channel. Thank you.